Hello there and welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Ngani Titan. Regular viewers of my channel and the sharp-eyed among you looking at the active operations will realise this game is from quite a bit back. Part of the reason is that various things in real life have been interrupting my gaming career at the moment, and I actually haven't had much opportunity in the last 3 weeks to play World of Tanks, so I'm digging back into older games to keep the channel going. And also I'll take a break this weekend, so the next 3 or 4 episodes are going to be pre-uploaded and scheduled for release while I'm away, and then normal service will resume towards the end of next week. I want to share with you this particular battle. It is the Centennial Vanquisher, British premium tier 4 premium tank. It was kind of an experimental design the Australians were thinking of building, because at one point it looked like they were on their own and facing a Japanese invasion and they needed a tank urgently. Based off the American M3 chassis with a British 2-pounder gun. Decided to show it because A, it's I think an interesting and fun little game, and B, it's not a tank you see very often. I suppose it's a little bit on the underpowered. The gun the 2-pounder gun isn't a bad gun, but it's well, at tier 4 it's still competitive because the Matilda uses a version, so does the the Crusader or the Covenanter. The Covenanter, I think, is the tier 4, has a 2-pounder gun now as a top gun and is very effective with it. This is more like the gun on the Covenanter. It's not as powerful as the 2-pounder version with the little John adapter on the Matilda. Rates of fire are similar. Penetration is pretty good, but the muzzle velocity isn't as high, and so the accuracy at long range, you have to lead a bit more, and it's a bit more of a ballistic arc at longer ranges. So I'm firing off. A lot of this engagement is at longer ranges here, especially against this Stuart, who is bobbing and weaving around the place like only a Stuart can do at this level. The tier 4 Stuarts, the tier 3 and tier 4 Stuarts are amazingly fun tanks, because especially in this is a top tier 4 game, you can get away with that kind of stuff that he's doing, and you can get away with it for practically the whole game. The maneuverability of the Stuart and the speed at which it travels relative to the guns of the tanks that you're facing means that it's very hard for people to get a decent shot at you. However, once you try that against higher tier tanks, if you come in here, he's a tier 3, so 4, 5, so he can be facing tier 6 tanks, and some of the tier 6 tanks will take him out because they've much higher muzzle velocities, and they don't need as much lead. So we've been putting out a lot of rounds. We've actually had quite a few hits as well, and we've taken surprisingly little damage, even though we've been shot at quite a bit. The armor in this thing isn't exactly the most reliable. They will bounce shots, but you know, it's a lot of guns will penetrate it easily enough. I don't want to be exchanging fire with a Churchill 1, for instance, because his armor is a lot better than mine, and his gun is perfectly capable of taking me apart. The Electo is another tank that I don't want to be receiving too much fire from. Very rapid firing gun, although he doesn't really want to be out in the open with that thing. I'm just trying to track the Churchill to keep him in place, make it easier for the rest of the team. Although that captured KV-1 is more than a match for a Churchill 1. In fact, those captured KV-1s are extremely lethal tanks. And we're being capped, so I decided to turn back to assist the cap, because even though there are tanks behind me, that's no guarantee that any of them will actually go back and reset the cap. Although that says, it looks like they're responding. Just looking at the minimap. So, they have actually responded. They've taken out the tank. So now I can return my attention to the rest of the battlefield. And at this point I didn't really expect to have any further impact in the game. There are 3 enemy tanks remaining. There are 3 or 4 allied tanks, 4 allied tanks up there. And I thought they would be well capable of doing the business, especially since earlier on we were racing ahead on tanks. At one point we were like 5 tanks up and no casualties of our own. However, the enemy are putting up a good fight and they are whittling away our tanks. The Electo's facing up against the Chihei, and normally I'd put money on the Chihei, but the Electo has won. And he still has a reasonable amount of health left. Now, I don't think he knows I'm here. I've just been detected, so he's probably spotted me now. But we got around into him, we've ammo racked him, and he's taken 1 shot, and we've managed to finish him off. Now, my engine's been damaged, but I didn't realise it because so far my speed hasn't been affected. There's only 1 enemy tank remaining, which is a Matilda, a very dangerous tank. And I don't particularly want to face the Matilda in the open, so I'm trying to go for the entrance to the wadi to see if I can get a long range shot on that Matilda. I've also switched to the premium ammunition, the APCR, because frankly I really doubt if the regular stuff would penetrate the 89mm on a Matilda. So we come around this side, there's no sign of it, and I thought I could get around, there was more of it around here, and then I changed my mind. And when I slowed down, then the engine effect really kicked off, and then I screwed up on that because my fingers weren't correctly positioned basically on the controller, and I didn't keep the radial wheel open long enough, and it went and fixed my tracks instead of my engine. So the Matilda has been lost sight of, which means probably is coming this way. And here he comes, and I get a round in before he knows that I'm there. Second round in before he's the turret around, and I managed to avoid a shot. I've avoided another one. Get a third one in. Fourth, I'm still alive. I'm actually quite surprised. I didn't think I'd last that long and take him down to be a 1-shot, but we did. And he was taken down easily enough at the end, because if the Matilda had the opportunity to meet us 1 at the time and be ready for each tank coming, he could very well have carried the game. So we get a 2nd class mastery. We're in the top 3 or 4, yes, top 3 by experience, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed the game. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.